We recognize him as a fearsome, faceless lord of shadow, a force of pure destruction who nearly brought Middle-earth to its knees. But the story of the one we call Sauron did not begin in a dark tower. It began in the light, with a being named Mairon. Mairon was born in the realms of the Valar. These were the primordial, angelic powers responsible for shaping the physical laws and beauty of the world. Among them, Mairon stood out for his exceptional craftsmanship. He was a creator who valued the relationship between design and execution, and he served the Valar with dedicated loyalty. It presents a specific contradiction. A character defined by his ability to create beauty and his devotion to order would eventually become the world's most infamous tyrant. To a master craftsman, every material has a place. Perfection requires a rigid blueprint, where every gear and every stone performs exactly as intended, without deviation. Mairon's love for this precision gradually evolved. He began to see the unpredictable nature of other living beings as a structural flaw, a form of waste that disrupted the perfect, efficient world he wanted to build. This need for total coordination led him to Melkor. Melkor was a rogue Vala who sought to dominate the world, and he offered Mairon the authority to impose his vision on the chaos of life. This chart illustrates how his mindset transitioned. His pursuit of craftsmanship demanded absolute order, which he eventually decided could only be achieved through total domination. Sauron did not fall because he loved evil. He fell because he was so ambitious for efficiency that he viewed the freedom of others as a mistake to be corrected. Even after joining Melkor, Sauron remained among the Vala as a double agent, using his reputation for loyalty as a mask. He spent his time observing the Valar's inner circles, documenting their troop movements and the specific defensive plans they intended to use against Melkor. He funneled this intelligence directly to Melkor, ensuring the fallen Vala was always one step ahead of the gods. While acting as a spy, he functioned as a saboteur. In this map of the Valar's unified power structure, Sauron whispered conflicting accounts to break their trust. By sowing this discord, he influenced the councils without ever stepping into the spotlight. This insider sabotage was far more damaging than any army, as it turned the Valar's own strengths against them before a single sword was drawn. While Sauron was Melkor's most trusted lieutenant, his true allegiance was not to his master, but to his own desire for power. He kept Melkor focused on grand destructive wars by feeding his master's cravings for dominance, which kept Melkor's attention fixed outward on his enemies. As Melkor focused on shattering the world, Sauron used the chaos to quietly gather his own resources and build a shadow network of his own followers. He viewed Melkor's massive power as a tool, a shield that allowed him to advance his personal ambitions while his master took all the blame and risk. This strategy allowed Sauron to grow within a superior's shadow, essentially using Melkor's resources to prepare for the day he would rule alone. The Valar eventually defeated Melkor, casting him out of the world and dismantling his empire. Because Sauron had spent centuries diversifying his own power and operating in the shadows, he survived the collapse of his master's regime completely intact. He stepped out from the mist as an independent entity, finally ready to implement his own vision for Middle-earth. He returned to his origins as a master smith, using his skills not to create beauty, but to craft a system of absolute oversight. The creation of the Rings of Power was his final attempt to solve the flaw of free will, tying the world together under his own singular command. Sauron's story shows that the greatest threat doesn't always come from a desire to destroy. It comes from an artisan's obsession with controlling every detail, no matter the cost.